Hello everyone to another video, and I somehow corrupted my save data, but that's beside the point. So if you've clicked on this one, then we're here to learn how to play Testament, and I'm finally confident enough in my Testament's abilities to be able to make a guide. So let's get started. First of all, what does Testament do? So how does Testament win? Testament is an interesting character. They're a mid-range character. So they play from all sorts of ranges and function well from all sorts of ranges. But they have these space control tools. So they're really good at poking and controlling the space around them. And their win condition is entirely tied around this mechanic over here of the Succubi into Pro, which gives you Stain, which then makes you the best character in the game. Because it flips the risk reward entirely in your favor. The game becomes super fun. So let's start with neutral. So your main buttons, 5k is the god button, 2k is even better, 6p, literally the best button in the game, literally the best 6p in the game, Far Slash for the reach, disgusting button. 5H doesn't reach as far, but is a disjoint, so you'll be challenging and stuff like that. Especially people on their wake up that like to DP, just 5H, you clash and it's fine. Also 6H. This button covers a ridiculous amount of space. Catches people both in the air and on the ground with the late hit. So in the air, JS. A go to air, JP if you need something fast, JD is a safe disjoint, and you can also go for Fireball, funnily enough, this also works. For people that are on the ground, you'll be looking to catch them with JH, you can even get mix like this. Alright. So that's pretty good. You'll be also looking for vertical fireball. JK hits people below you and people behind you, so crossing up like this works with this button. And that's basically all your normals in the air. As for anti-airs with Testament, if they're right above you, Pulse Slash can work, but it's a little risky, don't go for it. 6p is your go-to anti-air. If you have time, this also works. This is lovely as an anti-air. And those are Testament's normals. Let's go over their other moves real quick. So your most important move, Grave Reaper. It's a fireball that travels forward on the ground. And some fireballs go over it and it doesn't destroy projectiles. It usually gets destroyed by projectiles. With the H button you can get a vertical version, and if you hold the button you can charge. And there are 3 charge levels: no charge, medium charge, and full charge. So medium charge you'll be using in combos and in pressure, but for the other part you will either be using this or the full charge version. And because the full charge version takes up so much space, you can do disgusting stuff like walk up behind it and, pressure from there. Another interesting thing about this, if we get Kai to do something for me real quick. There we go. So watch this. Oh, I messed it up. I'm Battle Testament. Oh, let me get one for the... So the first hit of... because it's a 2-hitting move. Oh my god. My bad. The first hit deletes projectiles. You see, there is a physical attack and then there is a projectile. So that's good to know, and you'll be using it in a lot of circumstances. As for the frame advantage, this move is actually advantageous on both if you hit it. And the more you charge it, the more advantageous it is. So in the corner, this will rarely occur, but if you get them like this is the easiest throw ever. There's they can only backdash or jump this. So it really creates a disgusting mix. So that's good to know. Other moves, Crow. So Crow has two ways of maneuvering, but we're going to talk about that after when we talk about the Succubi. We'll get there. So Crow just flies straight, covers the air for you, and then it comes back. If you send it again while it's coming back, it's going to fly from over down, and if it hits them, you get Stain. And Stain we're going to talk about separately. You have Possession here, which does nothing but slow your movement. We're going to talk about it later. We have Arbiter Sign, which is a full screen high wall mix. This thing comes out faster, this thing comes out a little slower. Generally you'll be mashing this one, you'll be spamming this one. And like occasionally you switch off to the heavy version. Let me change something real quick. Is it the gauge settings? Yeah. HP, normal. Yeah, I like it much better like this. So, now that we've covered these special moves, let's cover the supers real quick. You have Nostrovia. It's slow to come out. It limits you out of Grave Reaper and Crow, so you can't use these moves while Nostrovia is out. But it takes up a lot of space, both on the air and the ground. And then it allows you to go for mix like this and put Stain on them, which is really nice. This is your go-to move for breaking the wall. Let me show you that real quick. If you stop them from blocking. What's a good combo? Oh, that didn't wall spot. Huh. This will. Fuck me. I'm messing up royally here. Why am I bad? There we go. So you'll be doing this a lot. This is your go-to wall break move. A combo like that and then you get going. Nostrovia also destroys projectiles, so once you toss it out you're basically safe from most things. And even if you are hit, it still remains on screen, so you can continue pressure, which is nice. Testament's other super is Calamity One. This is your reversal, but it's super slow, so it loses to a lot of safe jumps. You know, safe jumps basically always beat it, even if they're not the safest jump out there. And if your opponent meets you with like a P or a K button, they will be able to block on time. But what it makes up for, you know, lack of speed, it's fully invulnerable and it has incredible reach. So like something like, let me set them to block. Something like this string. That's actually my too much block stone. So Kai players like going for stuff like this. Calamity One can punish. Most supers cannot do that. Calamity One does it. Awesome super. So, those are the supers. Now, let's talk about the Succubi. Which you might notice, Grave Reaper leaves these guys. So, once Succubus is on screen, Crow aims for it. That's the first thing that happens. If you hold down the P button, Crow won't aim for the Succubi. And if you do possession while the Succubi is on screen, you teleport. But if you hold the K button, you do not teleport to the Succubi. So basically, you use Succubi to create threats. Right now I'm over here, but next second I could be above you and I could be doing stuff. And mostly for other space control thingies, because your opponent cannot know when you teleport. You can also use it to escape and other funky stuff. So that's basically all that you're going to need to know with Testament when it comes to his buttons, special. Now let's talk about the game plan. So depending on the matchup, I might actually want to play a little bit differently. The general gist of it is you want to stay in far slash range, want to keep people away from you, and you're trying to get a fireball out. And once you have a fireball and a Succubi out, that's when you get Stain, and with Stain you can play a little bit more aggressively from there. So the way you will go about things is As a space control character, you really want your opponent to be moving around and being, you know, uncomfortable. So the key part here is holding your ground. 2H, 2S, far slash, 6P. That's basically it. If you want to stop them from jumping, use Crow. If you want them to stop from jumping, use Vertical Reaper. If you want them to start jumping, use this Reaper and threaten to hit them with Crow like this. Threaten to hit them with Crow like this. If your opponent is set on not approaching you, which you want them to be approaching you, if they're not approaching you, if they're chilling a lot, that's when you start using Arbiter. And this will force them to begin moving, and once they begin moving, then we can go back to cover ground, 6P, this and that's how basically, that's what you do as testing. You just move this over and over again. And the way that looks is if I set the dummy here to all guard real quick, and I dare to jump, let's say, counter attack settings, after a block, let's get it to jump. So this is a mix-up here. Normally they want to jump to avoid the crow, or they want to jump to avoid the fireball in general, right? And if you think you're going to jump to avoid the crow or to avoid the fireball, then you do this. And now they're stained. And you can also do this if you're braver. Stuff like that. Also note something that a lot of people don't know for some reason. I see a lot of Testament players not doing this. So normally, when you do this, people are going to jump at you because it's not a true block string. The thing is, this will let you 6P them every single time because Testament 6P is godlike. So like, if they jump at you, never be afraid 6P. You want them to be jumping at you. So now that we've covered a little bit about how we manipulate the opponent's movement, let's give you some practical examples of why Stain is the best thing in the world. So the first thing, I need to set them to stop guarding. So Testament has low return and low damage, so this, I guess this is a little bit more optimal. Off of this you get practically nothing. Off of Fire Slash you literally get nothing. 5H doesn't convert, neither does 2H, your Gatlings don't work here. Off of the wall buttons, all you have is 2K to G, basically, and 6P. So weak conversions, no damage, you know, kinda lame. But this all changes with Stain, because once you get Stain, any hit converts into a full combo that deals a shit ton of damage and travels to the wall. So that's why Stain is really important. The other thing that's, I mean, no, that's basically, this should tell you how good Stain is. Any hit converts, literally any hit. So if your opponent is swinging at you, if your opponent whiffs, if your opponent does whatever, you just press one button, you hit them, and they hit a full combo for 1,000,000 damage. And this might sound a little overboard, but if we actually, where are the character specific settings? What? Oh, there they are. If we set the Stain to continue, so there's always Stained. Before you offer Fire Slash, you got nothing, now you get this. Before offer Fire Arbiter, you get nothing, now you get this. Stop. Which is a lot of damage, or you get to set up like this. Before off of Cold Slash, you got 2D into something, now you get this combo. Oh, I dropped. Come on. Oh, so that's pretty good. So literally anything, even a 2P. Massive conversions. Conversions everywhere. Same applies for pressure. Before, if we remove Stain, set the opponent to blocking. Before, for pressure, you have +1 into throw, +1 into a shitty frame trap that does nothing, +1 into just setting up, and I guess high wall mix that leaves you relatively vulnerable. With Stain though, with Stain, that's a lot of frame advantage. That is a lot of frame advantage. You can go for Alpha SD, which is overhead mix-up, or just 2K, which is a wall mix-up. Lovely. You can string anything into anything, you can threaten to throw them, you can threaten to not throw them, and you know, do stuff like this. You get access to a really cool mix-ups in the corner. All of your moves are plus. You want to pop Stain with either 5k usually, or also Ash, or 2p and 5p. This is a 1 frame gap, I'm pretty sure. There is a gap there, but it's so small that they cannot punish you. They cannot do anything, and because it's a gap, it's a frame trap, which is pretty nasty. So if they're not holding back because they're trying to jump or something, you know, this is going to get them every time. Also notice the chip damage. This also builds a lot of meter, by the way. So Stain is pretty great, you want to always have them Stain. So, past that point, you covered neutral. On defense, there's not much to talk about. I'm going to show you how nasty 2k is, I'm going to show you how nasty 6p is sometimes. But there's nothing really to talk about with Testament in defense. So we're going to talk about offense and pressure. So usually you're going to be doing this thing, as I said, and just going for something like this. And the key here is it pushes your opponent really far away and it gives you the Succubus that just disappeared. So from here you have all the threats that I was talking about, and most of the times you're guaranteed to get your Stain from this interaction if you are able to start pressure like this, which can happen from anywhere. Now if you manage to get in like this, you can do this. If you manage to get a throw, save jump, and you start going for that. So that's your main goal. And generally in pressure you don't want to be overcommitting, you want to end pressure with this move. Or if you're afraid that they have Mega Fist or another move that moves them up in the air and allows them to avoid this, then you can go for this as well, which also gives decent frame advantage, but now you no longer can send the crawl. So you're going to kind of be doing something like this in that case. You know, if you want to mix up or something. Or you're just going to fall back and you're going to throw another fireball. Testament is all about making those kinds of decisions of whether or not, where do I want my opponent not to go? There, let me do this or do this. Do I need my opponent to go somewhere? Then let me send them there, you know. Is my opponent doing this? Is my opponent doing that? So there's a lot of thinking in pro sync, but unfortunately, no matter how much I talk to you about, you know, the intricate decision making of where you send Crow, where you do this and that, unless you pick up the character, you are not going to be able to understand those things fully. So these things are going to come with experience, and I cannot teach you them. So just by letting you know that this decision making exists, and you should always be considering where do you want your opponent to go, where you don't want them to go, what are they doing right now, stuff like that. If you keep that in mind, you're going to figure this out a little bit faster than I did, but still, I cannot teach you that. It's just something that comes from experience. You're going to have to play the character and figure out for yourself. As for pressure tools, I also like going for this, funnily enough. This is horrible. It's a super huge gap, any character can punish this, but it will catch backdash, which is pretty nice when it comes to pressure. Same goes for this, and it's literally the only thing that you can go for in pressure, like 6p here, you know, 2G maybe, I guess. I personally like going for 6H a lot. You can also catch a jump, and if they jump and it hits them up here in the air, and it brings them down, then it also does relatively well. You can also, I said, you know, you want to go to crawl from here, right, to stand there. It's also sometimes a good idea to just teleport, and from here you can reset pressure or throw or stuff like that, just to mess around with them a little bit, keep them guessing. If you're really desperate to win and you don't have Stain, then pushing them out and using Arbiter for mix-up is sometimes worth it. But the key word is sometimes. With Stain, Testament is a little bit different when it comes to pressure. With Stain, you want to sit far away, like over here. Your main goal is to make sure that you have setup first. Or if you don't have setup and you need to swing, you wanna get setup as soon as you can, right? And the main goal now, because any hit converts, you don't have to be up here to get combos or value from your pressure. You can pressure safely from over here. So you still be using pro, you still be doing this whole space, but once they have stain and you're pressuring, you want to be going in like this, resetting, you know, get another stain on. Maybe walk a little bit deeper, do the regular pressure, get stain back up, and as long as you have stain, you can continue pressuring like this. And if they have stain, a lot of things change. So usually this move from somewhat close is punishable. It's usually safe, but you know, you're losing your turn if you use it. With stain, this is +5. This is actually +5, so if I can do it from over, like here, they might be tempted to swing or jump or do something. You can always catch them with a far swash if they try to move after stain pop on this, which is great. With stain, jumping in becomes much safer because of the pop. So you can try to do shenanigans like this. Almost got that. Right? All that stuff. In general, you can either be full aggro with stain, be here, pressure like this. Right? You can be full aggro. In my case, I prefer to stay safe. I prefer to pressure from a little bit further away, like this. Utilize Arbiter. But the good thing about Testament is they're so versatile, you can do basically whatever you want, which is great. So, in the corner, Testament, well, meterlessly, they remain the same. With Stain though, you still want to be over here, and you still want to be controlling the space, doing stuff like this, right? Those are your general precious things. So notice that Testament doesn't use a lot of frame traps. They don't frame trap a lot because their frame traps are bad, except this one. This is the only good frame trap they have. But the thing that they do really well is they stay out here where the opponent cannot do anything, and they kind of just pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure. And it's up to the opponent to do something. Over here you unlock a new mix-up. This one I used to not like it much. Now I see that it's somewhat useful, and I'm going to be going more for it, but keep in mind this mix-up I'm going to show you, it works only against people that don't have 3 frame buttons. So you're not pulling off this on chip and on soul, for sure. You're not doing it on Biken because frame 1 reversal parry. But you're getting it on pretty much everyone else as long as they don't have a DP. This will work on everyone as long as they don't have a DP or a reversal. And what this is, you land 5k and you do an air dash. And from here you have a high wall mix, which looks like this. So this is the high option. Right, and it immediately goes back into Stain, which is lovely. And this is the wall option. And it's the same, it just goes back into Stain. So that's good to know. Other than that, let me remove Stain because we're not going to need it for the next demonstrations. You'll be landing a lot of throws. From over here you can just, oh my bad, you can throw and you can Reaper, Stain. This works very well, it's relatively effective. You can also be cheeky and go for something like this. The jab is to help time it. Though I'm pretty sure one jab, oh no, it works. Oh, excuse me. Fuck. So yeah, you can go for that, or what I like to do is I like to go for a safe jump. Keep in mind, if you do the safe jump immediately, it doesn't work. You need to delay it manually. It's not too hard to do. It's relatively consistent and it hits really deep, which is nice. Like this. Yeah, so that's the option that I like to go for. You can also go for a safe jump off of a throw. Let me just record that. There we go. This one needs the slightest bit of delay. So it's another one that's not perfect. Wait a little bit, and then go, and there we go. It's a super deep jump in. It's safe. So that's nice, that's good to know. Other than that, in the corner things change a little bit. In the corner, if you land a throw, your go-to for pressure here would be a full charge OTG Grave Reaper. Like this. This gives you a shit ton of plus frames. A shit ton of plus frames. And from here you can absolutely safely go for Crow immediately. Right, and begin pressure. Like that. Or you can just do another move and then do Crow. It's up to you. And this works. I recommend doing this on every character except Leo and Kai. Leo and Kai's DPs go through this setup. That's when you won't be able to use this, because they'll just bolt right through it, and you'll be having a pretty bad time. Against them, you'll be doing this, which is the same thing, except it's uncharged. This puts you much further away. The fireball meets them when they wake up, and you still can do Crow immediately and stay safe, like this. So that's pretty good. It's basically inescapable. You get pristine and you can begin pressuring them. And that's basically all you should know. On defense, I want to talk about a few funny things. So one of the best things about Testament when it comes to buttons, so I talked about 6-piece godlike. If you've watched the video, the magic button that I did, it's me showcasing this thing, beating Milia 2K. This move beats walls sometimes, and it can be used for all sorts of bizarre bullshit. Basically, it reaches super far, so it's a counter poke, yes, but like look at the range on this thing. So on defense, if you're not pressing this button, you're doing something very wrong. I don't know why you will not be pressing this button, but something is going very wrong if you're not pressing this button. On the other hand, I also want to talk about 2K's defensive properties, and let me see if I can time it. There we go. You can cancel the startup of Calamity with proper timing, which I don't have, to get involved frames and only burn 1 bar. Because you see, once the circle appears and the flash happens, that's when you lose meter. But if I do it like this, I lose meter the moment I do the PRC. So I haven't mastered this, honestly, though I haven't found much use for it because I'm bad. But if you have better execution, you'll be doing stuff like that on wake up, or in other situations to beat their options. If you're not like that, if you're not good with execution like me, then you'll be YRCing mainly. YRC is your main defensive move. A backdash BRC, also another excellent defensive option for Testament. And you'll be using 2K a lot, both in neutral and in defense, for one very specific reason. If I set Kai here to do this, let me replay now. Oops. Fuck. God damn it. I need to time it better. Let's go. So what you're seeing here is 2K wall profiling far swash. 2K wall profiles many things. If I set Kai over here to do a full screen, what will be the quickest way to do it? Like this. So if I set Kai to do a full screen fireball, you can go under the fireball. Against Milia and other characters that have deep jump, not deep jump ins, quite the opposite. So with Kai here, I'm afraid of using this button because this button hits surprisingly well, so I'm going to go for JK. Against characters that are jumping in on you, like this, off of an instant air dash, messing up. There we go. You can wall profile with 2K. and get the punish like this. Or if you time it well, you can even... Let me time it so he actually hits well enough. Where he will hit the croucher. Maybe like this. This probably hits a croucher. Yeah. Does it hit a croucher? Yeah, it hits a croucher. If you time it especially well, you can probably punish their landing while staying clear of their bottom. Come on. One last try. Ah, come on. Well, maybe not against Skylet. Against Melee, wall profiling like this is very useful because, you know, she does air dash with JH. If you see her air dashing in, you just 2k. She whiffs, you grab her, you punish. Excellent. And you'll be using this against a variety of folks. Like, you'll be surprised how much this move wall profiles. Excuse me. The moment you start using 2k to wall profile stuff, a lot of new defensive options open up. That's the other reason this is your fastest Arbiter button, it with some crouches, which is unfortunate. But I find myself usually going for 2k to D. Or just 2k. Mainly because 2k might be slower at 6 frames. You know, this is 5, this is 6. But 2k usually keeps you safer, because even if you whiff or you guess wrong, it can wall profile so many things that you just kinda whiff your button and you continue blocking and it's like you never whiffed anything. It's amazing. One of my favorite examples against Potemkin, I had a set with Shady where what he did, you know, he knocked me down, he does hammer fall, he's over here. And now I have to worry about, you know, is he going to podbuster me or is he not going to do that and meet me somehow. And basically what happens is I see that and I'm like 2k. And when he podbusters, I hit him. When he tries to meet me, he did 5H. I ducked under 5H and then I blocked it when I got up. So 2k is a ridiculous button, you'll be using that on defense all the time. I showed you that this thing punishes, which is lovely. Pressure, yeah, you know what, I want to talk about Nostrovia and Nostrovia pressure real quick. So from far away with Nostrovia, you can pressure by doing Arbiter for mix. And the good thing about Arbiter for mix is it hits just before the stain pops, which means that before the stain activates, which means that if they're near the wall and you hit them with high wall Arbiter, the stain is going to break the wall, basically. You're going to get, Nostrovias will break the wall, they'll get stain and you get wall break and it's going to be excellent. So that's one thing you're going to do. The other thing you're going to be doing if you get Nostrovia like this with pressure. So obviously you have the high wall mix after and before the super lands completely. Right? I'm messing up my dash, but you get the point. And if you're extra ballsy, you can go for something like this while Nostrovia is going out. Keep in mind that this mix probably won't work with Nostrovia out. If your opponent doesn't know that, great. They might get hit for not blocking wall. Excellent. If they do, then you probably won't be going for that much, but you'll be going for more basic stuff like this as Nostrovia is progressing. And that's basically it. The only thing that I should mention about Testament that I haven't mentioned yet is your goal. I said Testament is a space control character, a mid-range space control character, but it doesn't exactly define what you want to be doing as you're playing the character. And what you want to be doing as you're playing the character is controlling space and pushing your opponent towards the corner. And as you're doing that, all it takes is a single good hit, like a throw for example. And then you're in this super winning position that's very hard for them to deal with. So your goal with Testament is to slowly push your opponent towards the corner. Now, once again, in different matchups, Testament plays a little bit differently. I'm giving you the fundamentals. If you want to know more about what you should be doing as Testament in different matchups, there is a great video by Romoa over the COG FGC YouTube channel, where she talks about each of Testament's matchups and the key things you should know when you play them. Because while normally you want to set up like this, against Faust for example, you'll be using mostly just raw Crow, like this, and a lot of Arbiter. Against Nagu you'll be chilling and you won't be doing anything, and then suddenly you start doing everything again. So watch the guide if you don't want to figure this stuff out on your own, which you probably don't. Once again, you know, Rumawa over at COG FGC. Excellent matchup guide. So finally the meat stuff, the thing that everyone is here for, the combos. So meterlessly, Testament has no combos basically, from this range at least. But if you get a counter hit, there are 2 counter hit confirms that you need to know. Off of 2S, you go to 2H, and from there into Fireball, and from there into Crow, which would Meaty, like this, Meaty Crow. And you do the same off of Far Swash. Off of counter hit Far Swash, you can also go for Arbiter, either version works. Or you can just go for this. But typically you want to be going for 2H. That's the best damage you can get here. I'm pretty sure this doesn't combo, let's check. Yeah. So off of 2S and Far Swash, this is the button. Off of Cold Swash, you want to be going for this hit confirm. And this is the most damaging combo you can get with Testament. It looks like this, meterless. So that's full health basically. Out like that. Now if we remove counter hit, off of Pulse Swash, you want to be doing 2D. So Pulse Swash 2D, Arbiter, and then you do whatever you want. So you can manually time a safe jump here. Oof, I cannot manually time a safe jump here. Or you can go for this, which instead will give you a meaty crow for staying. So just pick and choose whichever one you like. Off of 2K, 2K, 2D, same thing here. Possibly a safe jump, if you're fast enough, it's a combo like this. But for the most part, you'll just be going for this. You'll also be going for this works. Extra meaty, like this one or what. Arbiter you cannot confirm into anything, you get Arbiter, just toss out a Fireball to have Succubus and begin to threaten your opponent with all sorts of weird options. As for 6H, if you land 6H, usually you can only convert it into high Arbiter, low Arbiter if you time it correctly, and an occasional Fireball. If you have meter, you can go into Nostrovia. If you go into Nostrovia, from far away, you can combo into Arbiter, like this. If you're closer to the wall or to the opponent in general, you can combo into 6H, which looks like this. So that's without stain. With stain, things change a little bit. Oh, a lot actually. Calculate 6 settings, stain continues. So once again, any hit goes into this combo. What this combo looks like, you hit Swash, or literally any button, whichever button you start with. Get a Close Swash, Crow, 5k, dash cancel into Close Swash, and from here you freestyle on them. What I like to do is this usually. This is immediate stain and decent pressure. This is a little bit higher damage. If you have meter, you can also convert into Nostrovia here, which is nice. There we go. 2K2D, I should have mentioned that. 2K2D combos into the super, by the way. That's good to know. Back to stain. From further away... God damn it. There we go, this is the confirm. This is what you'll be looking for, mainly. And near the corner, things don't change at all. You basically string together whatever moves you want. It's fine. You can go for stuff like this. Or whatever. The only thing that you need to know about corner combos... You want to break... Oops. I'm bad. God damn it. You want to break wall with either Nostrovia, always, or with Crow. And funnily enough, that basically covers most of the combo-related things to Testament. Of course, if you land a JD, which rarely happens, I've never once landed a JD in my life, but let me show you anyway. Oh, I almost got it. Jump maybe? Thank you. God damn it. I need to go into the other move. Okay, okay. There we go. That's usually as best as you can get unless you're near the corner. So that's something you can go for, but that basically covers it for Testament combos. Testament is not a combo heavy character, in the sense that there's not many specific routes that you'll be going for. They feel more like Nagoriyuki, where you just string things together, basically. You just do the moves that work, kinda. That's how it works. Also, actually, I should have mentioned this about the stain combo from earlier. You can side switch here, if you dash cancel whatever button you hit them with. So if you hit them with 5k, it also works. If you can dash cancel, you can do that. You can also do it manually, but this is a little harder to manually switch up. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. Fuck. I said I'm going to get it. There we go. Doing a manual switch is much harder, so if you land a close dash for 5k, just air dash and you'll get the side switch and it works fine. For the most part. And that basically covers it about Testament and all they're going to be doing. Once again, COGFGC, check out Romo's video and for the matchups, and that's basically it with Testament. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in another one.